Hello guys, welcome to the third episode of our Teamspeak tutorial series. In this episode I would like to touch a little bit on the Teamspeak permissions and what they do, how they work, and basically everything around Teamspeak permissions. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here on server groups. We're going to go to server admin, which is the server group that we have right now, as you can see over here. Now we are going to demonstrate how they work on the ban permission because everyone likes banning. So this is what we're going to focus on: client, admin, and here we are. So first of all, client ban from server power is 75 and needed client ban from server power is also 75. Then we have some skipping, some negating, and then we have grant permission. So what it means. Basically, it's very simple. This is the actual power that you have on your server group. So our server admin ban power is 75. The needed client ban power is the power that anyone else would need to ban us from the server. So let's say that someone else would have the server admin group. If they have the same power as we have the needed power, they are able to ban us. They would actually not be able to ban us because we have this ignore bans, which we can untick. However, if we didn't have this, so if it was unticked, anyone else with the same server admin group could ban us from the server. Now, what is skip and negate? So, for example, skipping is used when you want to bypass channel permissions. I mean channel groups. So there is a hierarchy between the groups. You have server groups, you have client permissions, you have channel permissions, channel groups, and channel client permissions. And channel groups, they are overriding the server groups. So, for example, if there is a, let's say, some needed kick from channel power on a channel group, and the channel group has lower needed kick power from the channel than your actual server group, the channel group is going to override the server group, and at that point, anyone with the ability to kick the channel group, not your server group, is going to be able to kick you. However, if you get that group, so needed kick from channel power, and you skip it just like this, the channel group is no longer going to override that. So that's what it is used for. I'll touch on negate a little later. For now, grant. So grant permissions are the maximum number that you can grant. So for example, if I was to set my needed client ban power to 80, it is actually going to let me, because things like ban power or kick power and stuff like that, that is nothing that is affected by grant power. However, if I was to, for example, set something important above 75, like for example permission modify power to 80, you can hear
Error.
that it's saying error because the maximum grant power is 75. Now, basically, if you don't want other people messing with your permissions, the best thing is to create a whole new group, which is what we're going to do shortly, and don't give them grant permissions at all. They don't need it if they are not setting up your TeamSpeak server. So the only one who is going to have the grant permissions is going to be the basic server admin group, which is usually going to belong to the owner of the server, and then maybe a TeamSpeak developer group. However, if you're setting up a TeamSpeak, the server owner just can give you like his server owner group, and you can use that to set up his TeamSpeak. Now, if you have the grant power and you just don't want to, manually remove it from every single permission, because that's what you would have to do, the only thing that you really need to do is to set permission modify power to 70. I'm not going to do that because it would ruin this. Ruin this server admin group. However, if you were to create a new server group and you don't want people to messing with the grant permission, you'll just set this to 70, and at that point the grant permissions are completely out of his role, because this would be set to 70, and it affects all the grant permissions. And then if you need him to set something up, you would just lower the grant permission here to 70, and if his permission modify power is 70, he can, for example, modify this permission. So that's about it. That's like the basics of the permissions. That's how they work. That's what is the volue, the skip, negate, and grant. And the permission itself, I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. The only thing you really need to know is that you have an actual power, for example, a group modify power, and you have a needed power, so needed group modify power. This is the power that people need to be able to modify this group. So I'll touch on that in the next video. This is it for like the introduction to Teamspeak permissions. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss any new videos. If you want to support me, you can check out my Patreon in the description of the video. And as always, have a good day.